I've been asked to give some information to you about D.W.I, D.U.I, and open containers of alcohol. So here's some information that I want you to know. First of all, D.W.I is based upon your blood alcohol content. It means that you've been caught driving while under the influence of alcohol. Anytime that your blood alcohol content is 0.08% by weight, or if you've committed a traffic violation, or if you're a minor, they'll consider you D.W.I if you're 0.02% blood alcohol content. Now, there are several things that they do if you get caught under the suspicion of being a D.W.I driver. There are several tests that they'll give you. You've probably seen them often on television talk about the field sobriety test, wherein a person is asked to walk and turn, or they take their hold their arms out and put their index finger to the tip of the nose. It could be a question and answer segment that the police officer will ask you, do you know where you are, do you know what your name is, do you know what kind of car you're driving, those type of things, do you know where you're going. They might ask them to do the one-leg stand, where they have to stand on with one leg up in the air with in front of them with their arms out to their sides. Or they can give them a breathalyzer test, and you should know that you can also be required to give a blood test or a urine test. Now, is one important thing for you to know about D.W.I is that there's a term called implied consent. And that means that every person that drives and has a driver's license has automatically issued by their acceptance of the driver's license. They've allowed the state to have the implied consent, their implication by accepting the driver's license, that they agree to do a field sobriety test if they ever stopped and accused of being driving under the influence of alcoholic beverage. So that means that you cannot refuse the breathalyzer. You cannot refuse the field sobriety test. You cannot refuse the urine test, or the actual drawing of blood if a police officer deems that you are under the influence. The simplest thing to do is obviously the breath test. And if you refuse, you need to know that your driver's license will be suspended. Now, what I'm giving you, because laws change, I don't want you to take this to be legal advice. This is a guideline for you to go to study, and also to contact your attorney about anything that's relevant. But you need to know there's a lot of implications behind driving under the influence. And if you think you can drive under the influence and not be detected, you're absolutely wrong. And this is what I want to give you to do at home. The next time that you see someone of your friends that is drunk or under the influence of alcohol, why don't you do something that the police officers do? It's called a field sobriety test, but it's a nystagmus gaze test. And what it is an involuntary jerking of the eye muscle when the eye is moved at certain extremes to the right or the left. Simply have your friend to hold their head straight, and then to turn there. Tell them to follow your fingers and carry your fingers from here in front of their nose all the way out. Tell them to just keep looking at it with their eyes. And when they get about to the 45-degree angle, you're going to see a tremendous jerking of the eyeball. It's involuntary. The person can't even feel that they're doing it, no matter how violent it is. They can't feel that they're doing it. So if you think that a friend of yours might be drunk, or they might fail the field sobriety test, and maybe they should not drive home, why don't you give them that nystagmus gaze test to see how they fare. Now, there's a lot of other ramifications behind driving a vehicle with alcohol. If you are the driver, you need to know that if there is an alcoholic container open, even if you haven't consumed it, within your arm's reach, readily available to you, you as the driver, I don't care who had it, you as the driver will be issued a summons, or can be issued a summons, for driving with an open container of alcoholic beverage. So let's eliminate a lot of the stupid, foolish things. And I do know of some people that were issued that summons, and obviously the alcohol has been sitting for a long time, probably was not going to be consumed, but guess what? It fell within the guidelines of the law, and the police officer could write it even if it was 4 days old, even if that person didn't know that it was in that vehicle. So think about these things. There's a lot of laws that pertain to you as it pertains to drunk driving. And yes, you can be required to do they can also extract blood if they need to prove that you are driving under influence. So there's fines involved, there's restitution, and you can be hit if you happen to kill someone while under the influence with involuntary manslaughter. So take driving under influence of alcohol very seriously.